Hi, we're the Wisers. Come along with us as we share our adventures with you. On this adventure, we visit Wilderness Resort in Wisconsin Dells for 3 nights and 4 days of fun on spring break. Wisconsin Dells is about 3 hours from our home in Minnesota. We arrived at the resort around 2, but check-in is not until 4. One nice thing about Wilderness is you can get your wristbands as early as noon to start enjoying the resort until your room is ready. Throughout our stay, we visited each of the 3 indoor water parks, including Wild West, Klondike Cavern, and the Wild Water Dome. We also went to Dodgem City and painted our own pottery. So hold on as we slide into each of the different places we visited during our stay at Wilderness Resort. Our first stop on our adventure is at the Wild West Water Park. This is the first park we visited on Sunday and the last one we went to before we left. It seemed to be the quieter of the 3 parks we went to and more of a kids area. They had a water playground, a few water slides, including one of my favorite called the Black Hole. Julia loved the purple slide here and would go down it and run back up to try it again. Julia really wanted to do the bumper boats, so we did those before we left on Wednesday. It was only $5 per person, and Annie got to ride for free because Julia was too short to ride on her own. Our next stop is at Klondike Cavern Water Park, where we probably spent most of our time. This water park has many slides, a kid area, and a lazy river to sit back and relax. It is located between Wild West and the Water Dome. We would arrive early for the duck races at 9 and get a table to keep our towels and other things for the day. The duck races were a fun, free daily activity. Registration is at 9:15 and races start at 9:30. If your kid is unlucky enough to win, they get to go home with a wonderful duck whistle. The lazy river was a great place to lay back and relax. They had single and double tubes to go alone or to float with someone special. We all enjoyed the many water slides. Annie and I would take turns taking Julia down the large tube slides. My favorite was the Hurricane. I'm not sure if Anne-Marie saw any of it because her eyes were always closed after the big drop. You could tell in her laugh that she was enjoying it though. Julia spent a ton of time and enjoyed meeting other kids as she played in the large kids area. Our final water park stop on this adventure is the Wild Water Dome. This park has a couple tube water slides, a small kids area, a bar, and America's largest indoor wave pool. When the sun was out, it was actually quite warm. It felt like a perfect summer day in the middle of March. One of the areas we spent most of our time in was Dodgem City, which is located near the Wild West Water Park. This area includes a ropes course, climbing wall, a large indoor playhouse for kids, mini golf, laser tag, and a large arcade. Sometimes when we needed a break from the water parks, we'd go there for a little bit after lunch. After dinner at night, this is our go-to place to get some of Julia's last energy out before bed. Northern Lights Sky Ropes Course was a fun 2-story ropes course above the arcade. Julia and Annie spent almost an hour climbing up, down, across, and back. It was only $9 per person and was supposed to be limited to 30 minutes, but they didn't seem to care how long you were on it, as long as they weren't busy. The Timberland Playhouse is where Julia spent most of her time when not at the water parks. She could climb, slide, swing, and twirl on the 3-story play area. She got us to go with her a couple of times, but I can tell you from my experience that it was not made for adult-sized people. Julia loved watching people race up the climbing wall, so of course she needed to try it. She didn't race anyone, but once harnessed in, she climbed midway up the wall a handful of times before her time was done. The Wild Abyss Mini Golf was a 9-hole course near the arcade. You buy your cards at the arcade and swipe it in the ball machine to get your ball. The golf course brought you through a black light lit underwater adventure, including a giant octopus statue and even included a few live fish in tanks. At the end of the day, after visiting all the water parks in Dodgem City, it was time for dinner. Sunday night, we went to Dell's Pizza Lab, where you can build your own personal pizza or salad. The food was amazing and very filling. Monday night, we went to Mac's Macaroni and Cheese Shop. Julia loves macaroni and cheese, so this place was a winner in her book. Annie had a tasty house salad. Julia, of course, got mac and cheese, and I got Chipotle mac. It was all so filling that I had to take half of mine home. Our last night in the Dells, we went to a place called Moose Jaw Pizza and Dells Brewing Company. I was in the mood for a beer, and Julia liked seeing the moose on top of the cars, so even though it was pizza again, we had to go. They had quite a few beers available, and I tried the Relaxin' Raspberry, which was quite tasty. Julia and I went upstairs to see where the beer was made. In the basement, there's an arcade, so while we waited for our food, Annie and Julia went to play some games. The food was very good, and our waitress was amazing. We would definitely stop here and all of the dinner places we visited again. Before we close out this adventure, let's show you a few other things to do at Wilderness Resort. One afternoon, Julia and Annie went and painted pottery at Polka Dots Pots, located between Klondike Cavern Water Park and Camp Social. Julia painted a heart-shaped jewelry box and also an ornament to remember the fun times here. If either of these two things don't get your paint flowing, there are probably hundreds of other items to paint. Inside Camp Social is a little mini donut stand. They probably have the best mini donuts outside the Minnesota State Fair. They were made fresh and came with chocolate dipping sauce. Near Camp Social, there's an indoor go-karts track and arcade. We were having such a great time elsewhere that we didn't make it to these, but they sure did look fun. Camp Social has a restaurant, indie cabin, and a camp social burger bar. There was always something to do, eat, or enjoy at Wilderness Resort. 3 nights was more than enough time to do everything we wanted to do, and 2 would have been just fine. You might stay longer if you visit in the summer, as they have more water parks outside and there's so much to do in the Dells. We visited each of the water parks one more time before leaving around 2 to head back home to enjoy the rest of our spring break. After a long few days, I know our dog Hazel was glad for us to be back. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can come along with us on all of our adventures.